The storm had rolled in without warning, its relentless rain pounding against the windows of Jack's penthouse. The city below, usually a glittering tapestry of light and life, was veiled in a gray haze, its noise muted by the storm's roar. Jack sat alone at his desk, his tie loosened and his sleeves rolled up, staring at the faint glow of his laptop screen. His calendar was filled to the brim. Meetings, deadlines, more meetings. He rubbed his temples, feeling the weight of it all pressing down on him. Success. That's what he had spent his entire life chasing. And now, at 32, he had it. The corner office, the 7-figure salary, the kind of lifestyle that most people could only dream of. But the silence of his apartment, despite its luxurious decor, echoed louder than any of the accolades he had ever received. Success, he realized, had come at a cost. His phone buzzed on the desk, dragging him from his thoughts. It was a notification from his building's concierge service. Mr. Belzer's estate representative has left a package for you at the front desk. Jack frowned. Mr. Belzer, his elderly neighbor, had passed away a few weeks ago. The old man had always been kind, greeting Jack warmly in the hallway or sharing small stories from his life. But Jack, always rushing off somewhere, had barely paid him any attention. Curiosity stirred in Jack's chest. Why would Mr. Belzer leave him anything? He put on his coat and headed downstairs. The package was small, wrapped neatly in brown paper with a handwritten note taped to the top. Jack carried it back to his apartment, peeling off the paper carefully. Inside was a beautifully crafted wooden box, its surface smooth and polished, the kind of thing that spoke of decades of care. He opened it, and his breath hitched. Nestled inside was an antique pocket watch, its silver casing engraved with delicate swirls and the initials AB. It gleamed softly in the dim light, as though it carried a life of its own. Alongside it was a folded letter. Jack picked it up, his fingers trembling slightly, and began to read. Dear Jack, if you're reading this, I've gone on to whatever comes next. But before I left, I wanted to leave you with something that meant the world to me. This watch. This isn't just a timepiece, Jack. It's a reminder. A reminder of the most important lesson I've ever learned in my 84 years. Time is our most precious gift. Not money, not titles, not the approval of strangers. Time, and how we choose to spend it. I see a lot of myself in you, Jack. Driven, ambitious, relentless. But let me tell you something. I spent so much of my life chasing after success that I forgot to spend time with the people who mattered most. My wife. My daughter. I thought there'd always be more time to make things right. But time isn't generous. It's fleeting. And once it's gone, you can't buy it back, no matter how much money you have. You're young, Jack. You still have time to choose differently, to make room for the people you care about, for the things that make life truly rich. That's the real success. I hope this watch reminds you of that every time you look at it. With warm regards, Arthur Belzer. Jack's hands shook as he set the letter down. The weight of the words hit him harder than he could have imagined. He thought of his parents, retired now and living in the countryside. How many times had he canceled trips to visit them, too consumed by work? He thought of his younger sister, who had called him 2 weeks ago, excited about her engagement. He had rushed her off the phone, promising to catch up later. Even his friends from college, once inseparable, were now just occasional names on his social media feed. He picked up the pocket watch, running his thumb over its smooth surface. It felt heavy, not just in weight, but in meaning. Time. It was a gift he had squandered without even realizing it. The next morning, Jack woke with a clarity he hadn't felt in years. He canceled his back-to-back meetings and called his assistant to postpone his upcoming trip. Then, for the first time in as long as he could remember, he packed a small bag and booked a ticket to visit his parents. He didn't tell them he was coming. He wanted it to be a surprise. When he arrived at their quaint house, his mother opened the door, her face lighting up with joy. "Jack, what are you doing here?" she exclaimed, pulling him into a warm embrace. I missed you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. And he realized it was true. He had missed them, missed this. Missed the laughter, the warmth, the simple comfort of being with family. That weekend, Jack didn't check his email once. Instead, he spent hours talking with his parents, listening to their stories, laughing over old memories. He called his sister, promising to visit her soon to celebrate her engagement. And for the first time in years, he felt truly present. The pocket watch stayed with him, always in his pocket, a constant reminder of the lesson Mr. Belzer had left him. It wasn't easy to change old habits. There were still days when work threatened to consume him. But whenever that happened, he'd take out the watch, run his fingers over the engraving, and remember Arthur's words. Time was precious. Time was fleeting. And in the end, it wasn't the deals he closed or the promotions he earned that would matter. It was the moments, the quiet, beautiful, fleeting moments spent with the people he loved that would define the richness of his life. As the years went on, Jack built a life he was proud of, not just in the office, but at home, with his family, his friends, and eventually a family of his own. And every night, as he wound the antique pocket watch and set it on his bedside table, he silently thanked Arthur Belzer for the gift that had changed everything. Time's true value, Jack realized, wasn't in how much of it he had, but in how he chose to spend it.